name is Patrish Kuebler, and I'm a painter, and my mediums that I use would be pastel and encaustic. I started out with pastel, and that's because the few classes I took at Ventura College, composition, design, and just to let myself loose and start discovering if I still had the love that I think I would, and it's grown and grown. Um, you start out with design and composition with charcoal and pencil, so it's a very easy path to go to pastel. You have to have a pastel stick for each color. So, if I want to have a full range, I want more pastels. So it's a habit, and I'm sure every pastel artist has the same problem with when do you stop? Clean them up, they look like new again. So that's a good key. I make my own medium, beeswax and resin in bulk, and then I have a recipe, and I mix it up in a crock pot and pour it into molds, so I end up with my medium, which I remelt, and then I could add dry pigment to get the color I want. And if I'm having trouble duplicating colors, which I do, I can purchase pre-made. So I have all these lovely colors to work with, and then dilute them a bit with my medium, and I'm able to mix. I paint what I love, and so therefore it changes. And it changes whether I'm working with encaustic or pastel. Pastel, I'm a little tighter, more representational, and I'm trying to really loosen up with the encaustic because that's what it wants to do. You put a heat gun on it, you use a torch on it, and it starts to move. And to have tight control like I did with the Egyptian hieroglyphics, that was using a tiny little one like this. So not only can you use a creme brulee tool, but you can use it for encaustic. I'm doing a series of forgotten colors, and I have two here, and then I have a couple in OVA. For instance, this is amaranth, and that's a name for a plant that resembles the color of some roses. And there's history behind it. The Aztecs used to take the amaranth plant and grind it and put it into their bread. And then it was outlawed because they also mixed in blood from their victims for religious sacrifices and put it in their bread. Well, Spanish Catholic priests didn't like that idea, so amaranth was outlawed. Now it's outlawed here in the United States because it's carcinogenic. So after reading about it, and I tried to give you different shades of what I thought amaranth could be. So this is not a landscape, it's just plain with a forgotten color. This color is called woad, and it is a forgotten color. It started out as, the plant is part of the mustard family, and it has a rich dark blue color. And what I found interesting is that William Morris of English fame with his textiles, he would love to show off, and he'd have big vats of color in his warehouse. And one was woad. And when it's in his pots and melted, it's like a tar. So that's where we have the basic color there. And then if you put in a skein, I think that's how you pronounce it, skeinable. It's not skein. It turns colors. It would emerge almost as grassy green, and then it would turn a deep sea green, and then a blue. So that's what I tried to show in this painting, the progression of the color woad. And getting from a tar to blue, and now they use it somewhat in making the colors for blue jeans. This is the first piece I tried with experimenting with learning how to use a saw. The piece at the museum now is of a sunflower in honor of Ukraine. It used to be it's their flower representing peace, and now it's resistance. That's again OSA and the museum wanting a theme, and I chose the myth of heaven and earth. With that was a challenge doing that in encaustic, but that's what I thrive on. I think different things, and walking through the hills and seeing this, it was just so moving. Able to walk in the water up to your ankles and have this tree that's still there, and that was part of their religious experience, their ancient sage. This particular piece, again, was the creation. I had to come up with something for an OSA show at the museum, so then I could get away from my usual landscapes or things I'm really comfortable with, and come up with something different. My husband is an engineer. He's a director, our local, one of the directors of our local water. And anyway, I looked over his shoulder and I saw this groundwater basin file that he was dealing with, part of his work. And I thought, oh, wow, I love the composition of this. What is it? Tell me more. So I just went to work and decided, hey, I'm an artist. I can give any color I want to here. And off I went. So this is this Chief Peak. It's a cross section of the Ojai Valley. Let me set it straight here. This is the Ojai Valley right here. And so Chief Peak is here, Sulphur Mountain. This would be San Antonio Creek. And then you're going to have the fault line, the earthquake fault line, and Thatcher Creek. And this is Lion Creek. So you have all of this down into the earth with different layers, and I got to play with shellac and probably about 20 different layers of encaustic to come up with this. So that was a little bit different, and I still think when I look at it, I just love the colors and the design. And then if I look close, oh yes, it's the Ojai Valley. Finished encaustic, and then depending on your closeness to the shellac with your torch, it breaks up into cells. They're either tiny little cells like this or larger ones, and or just obliterates in your room to painting. But there's always hope. If you let it cool, and you can scrape it. This is not all mistakes, but this is my scrapings. Oftentimes you want to get to the layer that was done 3 below, and you scrape it down with a razor blade. I did a lot of scraping here, and to bring the colors from number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and on layers. So that's some of the hidden fun of working with encaustic. After moving to Ojai, and I started going to art shows. Never had time or inclination before that. And the enthusiasm and the difference and wonder of all the artists here in Ojai. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I had anything inside me. I wonder if I went to Ventura College and had some great experiences there just in basics. And then I met Bert Collins of Ojai fame. And she is truly a mentor to me and hundreds of others. Just a wonderful soul. And my love of pastel was formed in her classes. And her enthusiasm, her joie de vivre, will always be with me. So that's pastel hunger. I want to experiment with mixing oils. And I'm going to switch to the water-soluble oils, which are less toxic for me and the environment. And then, with a little cold wax with that, it keeps my interest peaked and the creative juices going. And I'm a perpetual student.